Today we're going to build an AI research assistant that works with us collaboratively in an Obsidian vault. For those of you who don't know what Obsidian is, it's basically a note-taking app, a little bit like Notion. In my opinion, it's better than Notion. It's offline first, but you can also sync it via the cloud or via a version control system like Git. And this is exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to build cloud agents that work with us by doing research on this Obsidian vault. So they're going to research the most recent news in the AI ML space automatically every X minutes, every X days, every X hours, whatever you set it up to be. And based on what they find, they're going to summarize the articles and make an Obsidian note. We're going to do all of this with Oz, which is an orchestration platform for cloud agents built by Warp. Warp is the agentic development environment in the terminal. And we're going to explore two angles here. On the one hand, we're going to run scheduled agents in the cloud that run tasks in a regular interval. And on the other hand, we're going to use the SDK to proactively trigger research tasks for specific topics. For all of this, we're just going to use the CLI, and this is going to be quite interesting. So if you like this video, let me know by hitting the like button and subscribing. But now, let us get right into it. Alright, so as I mentioned, the goal is to build an AI research assistant that works with us collaboratively on our Obsidian Vault. And for this, as I mentioned, we're going to use Oz. Oz is part of Warp, so you can see here warp.dev. Most of you guys know this. It is this agentic environment here in the terminal. And when we go here to Oz, you can see that this is now the orchestration platform for cloud agents. Many use cases for this. One of them is to run agents just asynchronously in the cloud, to run multiple agents together in parallel without any problems. Today, we're going to explore a specific aspect of Oz, which is scheduled agents and also working with the SDK. So we're going to use scheduled agents to run a task repetitively in a certain interval to gather the latest news from Hacker News in this case, to summarize them and to make Obsidian entries to push all of the changes to GitHub so that we can work on the same vault collaboratively, and also using the SDK to proactively say, now I want you to research, or now I want you to gather all the open source related topics, for example. Now, for the sake of transparency here, Warp, or Oz in this case, is sponsoring this video. You will find a link in the description down below where you can get 1,000 free credits to try it. So let us get started. The first thing we need to do is we need to install the Warp terminal onto our system. For this, we can go to warp.dev/download. And depending on your operating system here, you have to follow different instructions. Now on Mac and Windows, you just do whatever you do on Mac and Windows. On Linux, depending on your distribution, you have to follow a different route. The easiest way, if you don't want to deal with it at all, is you can just use the app image. This works everywhere. On Arch Linux, there is also an AUR repository, which is this one here, so the Warp terminal bin. However, this is out of date, so if you use this one, you're not going to get the latest version. You can fix this manually if you want to by adjusting the package build. If you know how to do that, you know how to do that. Otherwise, just go with the app image if you don't want to care about this, but there is support for every different platform. Now, once you have Warp installed on your system, you can open it up and you will see it looks like this agentic terminal type of environment. On the one hand, this is a terminal, so we can actually run commands like ls, pwd, but I can also communicate with agents. Either I can do that explicitly by saying /agent, or I can just start typing a message like, hi, how are you? And that also works. Now, in order to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish today, we can do that via the web interface, or we can do that directly in Warp. So the web interface, you can find it at oz.warp.dev. Here you can create a new environment, you can create a new scheduled task, you can do everything here with point and click in the UI. But what I prefer to do is I like to just tell the agent in the terminal what I want to accomplish, and I want it to do it for me. So I'm just going to explain here in Warp to the agent what my task is, and I'm going to tell it to set up everything in the cloud. There is, however, one thing that I want to do manually first, which is create a GitHub repository. So I'm going to go here to repositories, and I'm going to create a new repository by just clicking new, and I'm going to call this Obsidian Oz tutorial as a repository name. I'm not going to really set up anything here, just a README maybe to have something, create repository, and then I'm going to clone it to my system and point my agent to it. So I'm just going to go here, I'm going to say git clone There you go. And now we have this Git repository. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to explain to the agent what I want to accomplish. So I moved my camera so you can read this. I wrote, I want to work with you collaboratively on an Obsidian Vault. For this, set up a scheduled agent task that looks at the latest Hacker News posts every 5 minutes. If there is something new in the AI ML space, make sure to add a note to the Obsidian Vault, summarize the content of the article, and add proper tagging. Also, if you see that I have added some entry manually, make sure to tag it properly as well. This should all be an automated task in the cloud. And maybe also make sure there are no duplicates. So let's run this and see what happens. And it tells me here that it's now going to set up everything for me. So it wants to see the current directory. And now you can see it runs the os command to see what environments we have. In my case, I don't have environments, so it's probably going to ask to create one. So here you can see it says os help schedule create, and it says no environments exist yet. I need to create one. So here it looks up how to create an environment, then os environment image list. And there you go. Now it says here it creates an environment named Obsidian Hacker News description environment for Obsidian Vault with Hacker News AI ML monitoring. It uses a Docker image from warp.dev, which is dev base latest, and it connects it to my Neural 9 repo os tutorial. So now we get to an interesting part. It says here the environment was created but needs authorization for full write access. Please authorize the warp agent at, and then it gives me a link. So now I need to basically allow access to my Git repository. So I'm going to click on this here. This opens up this thing in the browser. I can go to Neural 9 here. I can say confirm access, use GitHub Mobile. For that, I'm going to go into my app. I approve the access now, and it is installed. Now then we can also choose access to specific repositories. This is one that I used to prepare the video, so I'm going to remove that. And I'm going to provide now my Obsidian os tutorial, and that is going to be the only thing that the warp agent has access to. So meanwhile, what this agent did is it create a schedule. You can see here every 5 minutes. By the way, of course, you don't want to run this every 5 minutes. I'm just doing it for the video so I can show you the updates quickly. What you actually want to do is you want to run this maybe every 6 hours, every 12 hours, whatever. But this is overkill to run it every 5 minutes. But here you can see the prompt that basically tells the agent to fetch and process new AI ML articles from Hacker News. However, there is a problem because this is not, I'm not sure if this is also a link to Hacker News, but I need to specify that I want to have the Y Combinator. I want to use the Y Combinator Hacker News. Okay, so it still uses this API. Probably I just didn't know that this is the official API, but this should work. So let's run this. Now it says here os schedule get some identifier output format text, and it seems to be set up. So what it does is it fetches new stories and summarizes them. Now in the web interface, you can see we now have this Hacker News AI monitor. I can click on it and you can see the next run is in 1 minute. So in 1 minute, this should start, and when it starts, it has to work. So we should see that here in the run section, that this is actually running, and we can also see the status. Right now, nothing is happening yet, but what we will also see as a result is in this directory here, so I'm going to clear everything. In this directory, we should then have new entries. So I should say git pull. Right now, nothing is going to be here, so everything is up to date. But if everything works as expected, this should be able to update this Git repository and give us the information about the new articles. Okay, so what you can see here now is next run in 5 minutes, last run less than a minute ago. So we can go to the run section, and here you can see that this is currently processing. So you can see status running here. And you can also see the runtime and how many credits were used. All right, and now you can see that this is actually done. Let me move my camera a bit again so you can see the text here. Status is done. We get the output. We also get here the credits used and also the runtime, 3 minutes 10. On GitHub, if I refresh now, I should see that there is content. There you go, Hacker News. And in Hacker News, I have markdown files. So what I can do now is I can go back, I can say git pull, and you can see I get all the markdown files. Now, next thing I want to do is I want to open up Obsidian, and I can say here, open folder as Vault, go to the tutorial directory, open this here, select And now we have an Obsidian vault here with the markdown files. Everything is tagged and labeled correctly. Now what I can do is I can maybe open up a new node here and say my custom research. And then I can do some stuff like I recently found out about OpenClaw. Awesome tool, but you need to be careful. And let's see if this is being tagged in the next run. So that is just my note here. I'm going to say git add everything, git status is going to be all the Obsidian stuff, and then git commit update, git push. And if you go to the schedule, you can see here less than a minute ago. I'm not sure if this is already going to include the latest update that I provided. Probably it's still working on the old stuff, but at least in the next round, it should tag my post. Now, while all of this is happening, we can go back into our Warp terminal here. We can clear everything, and I can instruct it to give me a script that I can use to proactively trigger, manually trigger, research on a different topic. So here I say now, build a Python script that uses the Oz SDK to manually trigger research for a given topic. I want to be able to provide a topic, and then a cloud agent should start researching on Hacker News and gathering articles for that topic. It should then write summaries in the Obsidian Vault and push to GitHub. So let's send this. So here you can see it got some information about the API, some documentation basically, and now it writes the according Python script. There you go. This is the code. It uses the Oz agent SDK. That is fine. Let's accept that. Now it adds a requirement txt. I'm gonna reject that or refine that because I want to say, there you go, reject, use UV for that. So UV init, etc. There you go. Run the command, add the dependency, clean up the rest of the files. Yeah, then it does some stuff that is not really necessary, but it doesn't harm. Okay, and also it tells us we need a Warp API key. So we need to actually go to Warp and then settings platform. So I think if we type this into the browser, we're just going to be redirected here. So let's just go to settings directly and to platform. And here we have the API keys. We can create a new API key, tutorial key. In my case now, I already copied this. I didn't show it on screen. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to place this into a .env file. So I just created a file called .env, and the content of this was warp API key is equal to, and then the key, whatever it is, that's the content of the .env file. And now I'm going to say the key is in .env, use python .env to load it and use it. Then here it adds the dependency, also uses it, accept, and there you go. Let's see if this works now. What should happen is when I do UV run research pi and then I say open source, for example, this should now give me an error message. Now, actually, this should not be a problem. Cannot import name. Look at the error and fix it. Probably this is just an API mismatch here. There you go. The class is called Oz API, not Oz agent. So we can accept that. Replaces all occurrences. And now let's see if it works. There you go. Starting research on open source. Agent started. So this is all happening now online. Let's see what the runs say. We have here a bunch of times we use the Hacker News AI monitor, and here now we have a cloud agent run, which we triggered manually. This is also doing research. So let us take a look at GitHub, or actually we don't have to take a look at GitHub. We can just pull and see in Obsidian directly what changed. So here now you can see on the one hand, my custom research was tagged. So this was my custom node. It was automatically tagged in the next iteration, and we have a bunch more news here. We still don't have the open source one because that's still running, but you can see I get a bunch of different entries here constantly being extended, constantly new entries being made here with summaries and tags and everything, and also my custom node was tagged. And you can definitely see, by the way, that every 5 minutes is a bit too much. So what we can also do is we can go to the schedules here now and we can click on it. Of course, we can also edit it, but I can also just delete it, pause it, whatever. In my case here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go interval, not every 5 minutes, but every 5 hours, for example. Actually, I didn't have to change the number there, but this is going to now not run it that often. The open source one is still running here. And you can, by the way, also see how this was triggered. So this is interval and this is an API call. And now it's done. You can see successfully researched open source. So let's go back here. Let's do another git pull. And of course, you can also automate this with a cron job. Just pull it every 5 minutes or something. And in this case now, we have research, open source, and we have a bunch of open source posts that are from Hacker News. So yeah, this is of course a very minimalistic example. We have just a simple Python script to manually trigger stuff. We have a simple job that just gathers updates, but of course you can combine multiple scheduled tasks. You can also add more features, and you can also build a fancy UI around it and do a bunch of customizations as well. But to repeat, the main use case of all of this is you can run multiple agents in the cloud. You can run them in parallel. You can have them scheduled in intervals. This is a full automated cloud environment for orchestrating AI agents. So again, down below in the description, you will find a link there. You can get 1,000 credits for free to play around with Oz. Make sure to check it out. So that's it for this video today. I hope you enjoyed it and hope you learned something. If so, let me know by hitting a like button and leaving a comment in the comment section down below. Also, of course, don't forget to check out Oz by Warp. They're sponsoring this video. And as I said, you'll find a link in the description down below where you can get 1,000 credits for free. And besides that, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell to not miss a single future video for free. Other than that, thank you much for watching. See you in the next video and